Well, look at that. Aren't we scientific? We are now live on 7 Spot, on 7 Spot YouTube, 7 Spot Facebook. And joining us today in our pre-show show is Paul Wild in somewhere in England, probably near the Birmingham relative area, I'm thinking. And Dave in Nashville. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
So, guys, this is a test because StreamYard has given us the opportunity now to do our live streaming in a vertical mode, which is going to be great for YouTube channels and TikTok. Although I have to say I know nothing about TikTok, and hopefully other platforms that Dave will probably fill me in on because he seems to be aware. But looking forward to it. But as I said in the description for this YouTube, this is just a pre-show where we talk shit, excuse me, about cars. So I'm going to ask you, Dave, what have you done on your low cost since we last spoke?
Well, I have gotten another 914 seat pan. I found a guy who apparently is stripping them all down to just the fiberglass.
Oh
So I've
yeah,
got two of those. It's kind of handy, and I'm looking at going down to Alabama and getting a complete Miata front subframe,
oh yeah.
and possibly using like a drift knuckle setup on that so that I can get more steering angle for input. Because I feel like a lot of the complaints that guys have when they use uh, like normal modern road car front ends is that it's still a lot of steering input for angle, and with the slightly shortened wheelbase, it makes the turning circle huge.
Oh, is that
So
right?
I'm thinking, I don't know, a lot of things are, you know, subject to, if it
Trial,
actually is true or not, or if it just feels that way, Um,
subject to a whole bunch of trial and error.
yeah, some of it, but the advantage of the big angle kits is that there's more clearance on the front lower control arm if I'm using Miata parts, which
Yeah.
are, not inexpensive, but at least there are plenty of aftermarket where I could get something that's pre-made, and it gives me all of the Miata suspension geometry because I'm already using the rear, and then hopefully I can either cut the wings of the subframe and just weld them in, or duplicate the mounting points. And my quick jacks come on Tuesday, so I'll be able to move some things around. I could potentially disassemble my build table, or at least level
Oh,
it differently. So
yeah.
yeah,
Nice move. Yeah, and I,
those are
I
going to
hear
be
that you're in the
applicable.
process of rage clean right now. Is that what's happening?
Oh yeah. I've broken down like 200 boxes. Not really, but I'm cutting up boxes and recycling and putting things away, and finally going in the attic in our house and taking things apart up there. So yeah.
Ah, I just received a notification that John Minion said he's going live at this particular moment on our Stimson Scorcher show. And I don't know. I'm gonna have to send him a message and find out if that's the truth. It doesn't show up on my screen, so that would be interesting. Actually, that'd be an interesting thing to do is to do one of our
Oh,
shows a simulcast in both vertical and landscape. But that's kind of a different thing. Paul
well,
has dropped out.
I'm in that other login screen, and there's this like the Scorcher for the Brave that's scheduled for one was scheduled for the 29th.
Is it not?
Did you guys, you did a leap day one, yeah?
Oh, did I screw it up? I
No,
probably
I don't know.
did.
Who knows? It depends on if we all have the same like permissions in the login. Oh yeah, another thing I did was smash my finger with a hammer against an impact socket, so that slowed things down quite a bit.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
Yeah, very effective.
Yikes.
I hope it wasn't a 10 million you lost it.
No, in the attic I found a 12-inch Bosch impact driver extension with a lockout that some construction person left in my attic over the last however many years. So that's the find of the week. Free tools.
Brilliant. Jim, Phil's just tried to phone me, so I've told him we're live at the moment. So he'll probably pop on.
Oh, okay,
Or
that'd
if you
be
send
great.
him the link.
Phil was going to drop in too. Okay, that'd be great. I'll send him a link. And drive. Oh, Will McDonald just chimed in. Driver driven, and asked Dave, "What steering rack are you using?"
Oh, I am going to use the stock Miata rack.
Cool.
If I end up with the drift knuckles, I will have to get extensions for the tie rods. But other than that, I think that should work. It's only because I have a stock Miata steering column, and I have two of the extension pieces, and I have the stock Miata rack. And I don't really feel like going through the process of shortening it and then putting extensions and running everything far enough forward. Since I have a 442, my chassis is already like 28 inches wide, about 6 inches back from the front where the radiator mounts.
Yeah.
So a 29.5 inch upper mount width for the stock Miata front subframe does not make it look particularly odd. And I found a guy who put a complete NC or like Mark III Miata front end from an RX-8 into a low cost. It might have been in a Haynes book chassis, Haynes chassis, but I saw him the other day on YouTube, and it doesn't look strange. He has a very wide nose cone, but I kind of dig the look of it. You know, it makes the slant. I think everybody would see that, like on some of the cars, the nose cone is so thin, so narrow compared to the taper of the body.
Yeah.
It just has an odd look depending on the height. And since mine's got to be pretty tall to manage my motor, then it can just look like I'm like, the whole thing is 10 psi overrated, and then it's just inflated a tiny bit. I think the proportions will look fine like that. So, and it's less measuring and fiddling for me.
Wow. My mind is addled just trying to wrap my head around all that stuff that you want to do. Yeah, that's an amazing thing.
It really should be the simplest way. It's a part that somebody else already designed and engineered and ran for 20 years, or 15 years of the NA and B Miata. I can just put it inside my frame and be fine.
Well, Will is responding back. He said, if not using the full subframe, consider a Mark I, Mark II Sierra Escort steering rack that's come in a variety of ratios.
Yeah. The trick is finding them over here.
Yeah. Well, he's in California.
Oh, well, maybe we can get one out of an old something.
Yeah.
Mark I, II Escort rack.
I'll put the two of you. Put the two of you together in a messenger chat, and you guys can confabulate. How's that?
Yeah, or I can try to open the chat here. This is the only weird thing about the phone. I know. I've been on this. I'm subbed to his YouTube, I think. So we'll work it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we're getting ready for the big show with Paul, what are you up to with your most recent barn find?
I've just been basically running through what's there and what isn't, and sourcing parts. I've got a good collection of parts, so I reckon I could, with a few little bits of spending, I can build.
For those who are not following what's going on, what have you found in a barn?
I found a Stratus 365. Which has, most of you know, it's got a bit of a Lotus heritage with it, really, hasn't it? Because of the designers.
Yes.
So, I'm going to wear my Lotus badge.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see that on 7 Spot. The Stratus badge was very, very proudly worn on your car. How fabulous is that? And for those who haven't been following along, Stratus designer was Brian Lamb. Is that his name?
No, I'm trying to think. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, we've got another person.
It's gone.
It's just
Well, and don't worry about that. I
My
believe
phone keeps wanting to shut off when I'm in portrait. When I was in vertical, sorry, when I was in portrait side on, it
Yeah.
didn't. I don't know whether that's because it's trying to do shorts or what. I don't know.
Well, I have no idea. All I know is this is a new thing that we're trying. And there you
I'll try it that way.
in landscape, and you're filling
Yeah,
up the whole thing, and it's all good. Um, so you're
It's actually
going
not a
through
bad
the.
idea.
There we go. Okay, we
Brian
all
Oh,
Luff.
yeah, it'll still
Brian
broadcast it as
Brian Luff.
in
That's it.
portrait.
There's the name. Okay, now we're all going to join the party. Let's see if I can get this.
Yeah, and then we don't have bars. That's a good system. I'm glad it's live, so the whole world can watch us fool around.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what we feature on our channel is technical fuck
Whole
ups.
whole
Excuse
world,
me.
all 9 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is great. So with the Stratus 365, that's everybody knows now that it's a Lotus Association, and Brian Luff, excuse me, and thank you for straightening me out. Designed this car and used the name 365 because it's supposed to be a daily driver, right?
Yep. That's where the 365 came from.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fancy driving one round all year though.
No.
The doors don't fit very well on them. So it's going to be a drafty car in the winter.
Yeah. There you go. And with regard to the conversion, is it just go on to a standard mini subframe, or what do you just extract the engine from a mini, and then how does it work? Tell me.
Well, it's just you get a scrap mini, bolt the complete front subframing and the rear subframe into it. It actually fits perfectly into the body. The floor pans I'm actually taken off a mini. So,
and they are fiberglass replicas, right?
Yeah. We're steel reinforcing, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Okay, that's cool. And so all the donuts and all that stuff.
Everything. Well, as you know, the mini subframe's incomplete. Suspension, all the suspensions there and everything else. So basically, it's an earlier frame. So it's 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 bolts, and the engine and front subframe is out.
Cool.
So it's probably why they used them in a lot of down. Used the mini as a lot of downers back in the 60s and 70s. It was just easier.
Yeah. Now with your particular car, and if we're going to call it a car at this particular point, because it's going to have 4 wheels and go.
Yeah.
But is there any hope of getting it registered?
Fingers crossed. Yes.
Okay.
There is a few loopholes you have to jump through, but I can see it being registered.
Yeah. I mean, I know nothing about the registration process in England, other than I thought it had something to the IVDA. Requires previous plating, if you will, of the car.
Yeah, right? It does. It does. Yeah. Okay, it's not easy to get one through, but I'm sure you can still get it tested as a pre-SVA car with a few little mods.
Right, there you go. Pre-SVA, there you go. So there's the rub.
I mean, basically in the 70s, all that used to happen in the UK was you got a local member of the council come round, basically kick a few tyres, make sure the numbers matched, and gave her the V5.
Well,
how things have changed.
That is so cool. I'm so glad that we did this, guys. I don't really know what more I'm going to add to this, except that I'm looking forward to doing a bunch of these in vertical mode, just for making shorts, and also to advertise some of the stuff that we've got coming up. And along that line, Dave has one of our show hosts with the high cost, low cost channel. You just put up your, what is it, your sump baffle video?
Oh yeah. I copied the Unit 2 Fab oil pan baffle layout
Yeah.
for my Honda K series. So that's finished, and I mean it's been finished for a long time, but the video is finally done. And I've got the video for my intake porting and rewelding
Mm-hmm.
in process, and then a bunch of other things.
Yeah. Dumb question time for you, Dave, though. I know that when I'm just a kit assembler, so what I worked with was I had a build manual, but mind you, it was only about 6 pages deep. Nonetheless, I had myself a whiteboard and I was knocking them off. And do you have a whiteboard, or is this all in the back of your head and you're throwing it all together in a magical process?
Well, I mean, most of it is just whatever I walk past first when I go down there.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's fine at this point to do that. The next thing I really want to do, that I need to do, is get all the dimensions for mounting the rear subframe. So I'm going to talk to Dave Hempy, who's
Yeah.
one of the, on Low Cost USA, and
Yep.
he's close enough to me that I could go and look at his stuff and take a tape measure and a camera and
Mm-hmm.
really get things ironed out. And also another guy that we all talk to, Matthew Cole.
Mm-hmm.
I follow him on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure he's in Sunspot, but I know he's in the low cost builders groups. He's just hanging the Miata rear diff and making his own arms.
Okay,
But
cool.
the biggest problem, so those are the things that I need to do next, like get the diff mounted, so that I can decide if I'm going to re-slide my transmission, because at this point I think I'm going to use a shifter relocation linkage.
Yeah.
Because the S2000 transmission layers, it's really big.
Yeah.
At the bell housing, so lots of things.
Lots of stuff to figure out. And the one
Yeah.
thing that sits out in my mind is you will have to get a hacksaw soon and cut down your scuttle. I don't know why that sits in my mind, but it's huge.
Because it's so tall. It's like I feel like it's like 13 inches high at the front. It's so giant. It's kind of cool to sit behind, but then I'm like, it can't be right.
Yeah.
So it probably
you must look like you're doing this, looking over the dash and that thing.
Well, I had to ask. I was thinking, how big are you guys' windshields? Because I don't even think an 11-inch wiper would fit. I mean, it would be like driving a Mack truck.
Well, you'd be sitting there. You'd be sitting here looking out the windshield, and you'd see this thing doing this.
Yeah, it wouldn't even, where the wiper doesn't even touch the rain would be where my eyes are. So I got to cut that down. And I'm probably going to move it back like 3 or 4 inches as well.
Yeah.
It's a very oddly designed. When I look at the MK builds that Sean and Neil are always posting, it's like their thing is like one 1-inch square tube with one bracket on it, and everything just bolts to that, and then they place the scuttle on top. And the GBS one's a bit different, but it's still not a lot. Mine, it's like a whole scuttle subframe that's unnecessary. So I'll hack that off and probably build some sort of small front hoop for hanging on to things.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially if you're going to do something like have Brooklands or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use a real windshield.
Yeah,
because I want to be able to go to work when it's cold and stuff.
Yeah. I've got a pair of Brooklands. I put them on my car once, and now I'm back to the windscreen because it screens wind.
Yeah,
and I'm tired of eating bees.
Yeah, it's enough. I could wear a helmet driving in Nashville anyway, even with a regular car, because the amount of people that end up scurrying by on the shoulder and trucks shooting rocks everywhere, it's crazy. So, something's got to protect my pretty face.
There you go. Well, guys, we've been on for half an hour almost, and I want to say thank you for initiating the 7-spot portrait studio attempt, the first one of many to come. So I'm going to say thanks, and we will see you at 7 Spot. And everybody, before we say goodbye, one last thing. Be sure to tune in exactly 1/2 hour to the 7 Spot Stimson Scorcher special featuring Paul Wild and Phil Lyons and Jeroen Boy in the Netherlands. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Cool.
Okay, guys, thanks for joining. Cheers.
See you later.